Hey, what's going on, everyone? What's up? What's up? Welcome, guys, to the live stream. Everybody hear me okay? Anybody can hear me? Hey guys, anybody can hear me? Holy shit. All right, thank you guys, thank you. Oh, welcome to the live stream, man. I was waiting to get some people in here and we'll discuss it. Basically, what I like to do, guys, I would like to just share with you, obviously, any possible news or any injury reports or anything like that. And what I have right now, obviously, there's been some changes in the as far as news, as far as the lines are concerned, and I always concern myself with those things. Earlier we have different projections now for all three games. New York at Atlanta is the implied totals for that game is now 161.5 with Atlanta favored by 7, and they are projected to win by 50. They have a 57% chance of winning that game. The top scoring total game for the night is the Washington-Dallas game. That one has a 176 implied totals right now. It has changed from earlier, and Dallas is favored by 5 at home, and they have a 60% chance of winning that game. These are all new latest Vegas lines. Vegas at Phoenix, implied totals is now 171. Phoenix is now favored. They were favored earlier in the day by 8.5. Now it's 9.5. So they have a 53% chance of winning. At least that's what Vegas has. So I wanted to share that with you. Injury report: Natasha Cloud is out. You know, she has a concussion, or she's going through a concussion protocol, and Dantes is out for Atlanta. She was a game time decision, but now I notice she is out. Let's see, double check that. And yep, she is out with that ankle. So I did some more research on some of the games, and I definitely wanted to be able to share. What I would like to do is I would like to at least give you guys what I have found and what I think will be probably important for you to make decisions tonight, as well as myself. I'm gonna go at this for a few minutes, get this stuff done, and then of course we can interact like always and discuss possible plays. But I have New York at Atlanta, of course. There was a couple of things that I saw that I felt it was necessary to take a look at. New York As far as rebounding, blocks, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage, there was obviously some areas there that both teams have advantage on. And I looked over the field goal percentage thing. And going into the game today, New York is obviously averaging 43.3% field goal percentage, but they have been coughing up 44.6% to the opponents. So that's only a 1.3% difference, but it could be a big difference in a game like this with Atlanta. Atlanta, on the other hand, field goal percentage is 41.2%, and they are giving up 41.9%, pretty much even there as far as in their opponents. The difference there is obviously New York is shooting 43%, and they're offering 41%, so definitely that will benefit Atlanta in being a better defending team against field goal shooting. So something to consider there, guys. You know, what else we have here for you? Rebounding. Atlanta, obviously a strong this is a place that you could definitely target with Atlanta if you're thinking about any of the Atlanta players. Obviously they're strong up front. I think they're much stronger than New York is. So what I'm looking at is that Atlanta is averaging 35.9 rebounds a game, and their opponents are averaging 37 on them, which is they are averaging 37, and New York is 32.9 with their opponents at 34.2%. So definitely the opponents are scoring, getting 2 more rebounds more pretty much per game over New York. But this is a strong rebounding team in Atlanta. So that's what I'm concerned with. Atlanta is 5th in rebounding, averaging about 35.5 a game. So I'm looking at we should definitely target players like obviously Elizabeth Williams, who's a top rebounder. When you look at Atlanta, you have their top rebounders are Breland 8.5 a game, McCoughtry 6, and Elizabeth Williams at 5.5. They are the key 3 top rebounders for Atlanta. So you definitely want to target one of these girls. Not only that, each one of these girls are also tops in field goal percentage. Williams is 47% from the floor. McCoughtry is 41%, and Breland is 38%. So definitely something to consider there as well. When we go on, as far as so I like those 3 girls up front. Another thing to remember also, Atlanta, when McCoughtry is averaging 17 points per game, Breland 7.3, and the other significant thing to remember is McCoughtry is a big integral part of the offense. She takes 14 shots a game on average, and Breland 8.5. So definitely those are two girls you could definitely focus on today, with them being not only point scorers and taking a numerous amount of shots on the floor. When they're on the floor, they have high field goal percentages. They also have key rebounders on the team, and Breland is one of the top blockers, averaging only 2 blocks a game, but it's definitely something that you should consider in a matchup like this. So I think hands down Atlanta has definitely some advantages over New York. New York is getting Marissa Coleman back today. I think they definitely need her, obviously. She has 30-point upside, so something to remember there. She's one of my sleeper plays for today, at least what I see. So I think that's definitely, she's definitely someone you can consider. But hands down, up front, Atlanta definitely has advantage over New York. So I think everybody should target. If you're targeting anybody in this matchup, definitely Atlanta front court players are a good bet. And then in the backcourt, definitely Tiffany Hayes is hands down. She's definitely in play. Let's forget about price. Let's just look at it as statistical standpoint. It's only a 3-game slate. It's not a 5-game. It's not the whole 12 teams playing today. So I would still think Tiffany Hayes is definitely someone in play. 17.4 points, 12 shots per game. So she's very, very much a part of the offense on this team. And she is also shooting 46% from the floor. So that's very significant as well. So she's definitely almost at 50%. New York, nobody else really. I mean, I don't see anybody. Charles is 45% shooting. She is pretty much everything. She's scoring 20 points a game and taking 17 shots a game on average. Other than that, you have Epiphany Prince. She's at 9 points per game, which is a big difference from Charles. So they don't have a second stud player on the New York team. New York does have those moments where they play really, really, really well. They get up for some games. But I think this is a game that if you're going to focus on the girls in Atlanta, Hayes, and then, of course, those 3 front girls in the front are definitely good plays. Looking at this game as far as sleepers, I think sleepers, definitely Billings for Atlanta could be someone that's very, very sneaky. And for New York, I would say definitely sleepers would be Hartley. I like Bria Hartley. We're not worrying about price here. We're talking about someone maybe that can have a very, very big game. I think Bria Hartley could possibly be one of those players for New York. And then, of course, I also think you cannot sleep on Marissa Coleman, even though she's been out for a long time. She does have 30-point upside, which I mentioned. And then we have Kia Nurse, who, had a monster game the last game, has 40-point upside. She's been there before, but has not been putting up the minutes. If she gets some minutes, you never know. She had a great game. They may just want to throw her back out there for about 15 to 20, 25 minutes, and she may just be a very, very surprising play. So definitely someone to consider in her as well. Yeah, New York, definitely, yeah, baller. I see that. Yeah, absolutely. New York is very, very tricky. I don't play a whole lot of them. I think the only one that I would consider today is Charles, obviously, and Miss Hartley. They're the only two I would think about. Moving on to the other game, we have who else we have here? Washington. The Washington game with Dallas. This one is a very, very interesting game. These guys have not played against each other, which you heard in my earlier video. But looking over some of the stuff, looking over some of the stats really, really closely today, what I'm more concerned with here is that Dallas is really, really playing really well now. Both teams are 13-9, and both teams in the last 5 games have been kind of 500. So anything can go here today. But pace, there are 3 or 4. They get 3 or 4 more possessions a game, Dallas does, than Washington. If they can keep that pace up, that can definitely be a benefit for them. And not only that, looking at their field goal percentage, they are 4th in field goal shooting. Not too far away from Washington. Washington is only about 0.5% or 1% behind, but that could be significant as well. What I do like from Washington is they are the second best 3-point shooting team, so you definitely could consider looking and targeting some of their 3-point shooters. Washington tough today as far as the guards are concerned. I really like Dallas up front, with them being the 3rd best rebounding team, averaging 36.4 rebounds per game. So when I looked at this, when I dug in a little deeper here in this game, I noticed that as far as rebounding concerned, the opponents, Cambage is averaging 9 rebounds a game, Johnson 6, and Thornton 4.5. They're the top rebounders, with Miss Stevens at 4, and then for a guard, Diggins Smith is averaging about 3.5. Also, as far as up front, defensively, Washington has been giving up 32 rebounds per game. No, actually 40 rebounds per game as of late. So definitely is an advantage for Dallas. And that's all. This is in the course of over the last 3 games. Dallas has been averaging 36.6 rebounds a game, and Washington has been pretty much giving up almost 40. So there is definitely an upside there on targeting some of the Dallas players. So I definitely would lean more towards playing some Dallas forwards. I like Cambage in this game. I do like Thornton. Is Liz going to be able to do the same thing she did the other night? Doubt it very much with Della Don. What I do like is their front 3 as well as the front 3 of Washington. They're kind of like neck and neck. So something's going to give. Either Cambage or Thornton as well as Miss Johnson are going to have a better game than Sanders, Della Don, and Atkins. Remember, Atkins is on FanDuel. She is labeled as a guard, but she plays small forward for this team. Moving on here, what I like also, 3-point percentages, right? Washington is one of the top 3-point shooting teams. Dallas is not. Dallas has been giving up 33% 3-point shots over to their opponents, and they obviously are not shooting that well. They're at 31%. So it's an upside there, while Washington, on the other hand, they're shooting 36%. They're the second best. So obviously that's about 3 or 4% difference there. And that definitely, for me, makes me start thinking, hey, let me focus on let me take a look a little bit deeper on the Washington shooters. And when you think about 3-point shooting, you got Hawkins is 39%, Della Don 37%, Atkins 37%, Tolliver 36%, and Natasha Cloud, who's not playing, is 33%. They have 4 or 5 decent, pretty good 3-point shooters on their team. The one that hurts the most is the Natasha Cloud, because she's averaging 3 to 4 3-pointers a game, and she's not going to be in there. But as a unit, Hawkins averages 4 a game, Deladon 4, Atkins 4, and Christy Tolliver shoots about 6 3-pointers per game. So I kind of like those guys there, and if I'm going to go there, obviously the best bet is to possibly think of Atkins. Even though she's a guard here on the FanDuel, she is a forward, but she's not a bad shooter from 3, so she may be someone that you got to watch out for in this game. If I move on any further here, field goal percentage, definitely very important here. Washington has a couple good decent field goal percentage shooters. Sanders 61%, Deladon at 46, Hawkins at 44, Atkins at 44, and Tolliver at 43. They got 4 or 5 players there. But then again, Dallas is just as good with Cambage is averaging 58%, Thornton 45, Stevens 43, Smith 42, Glory Johnson 41, and Alicia Gray 41. So, you know, I look further and further in this game. I kind of like some of the Dallas players more than I like the Washington players. And this is a game also I want to point out that you can definitely stack this game. A 3-game slate like this, I would not be opposed at all. I would do it myself. I actually do have a lineup where I have at least 5 players coming out of this game. It's tough to do with some of these because of some of the salaries, but you can definitely work them in. Though that is one of the ways that you can actually benefit and do well in a GPP. So definitely always consider that. If you don't do that, if you're doing multiple lineups, I highly recommend that you do stuff like that, guys. What else do I have on this game? I pretty much think that when it comes to Dallas, you definitely want to target Cambage. I like Stevens, I like Smith, and I like Thornton. When it comes to Washington, I've narrowed it down to obviously Deladon, Christy Tolliver. She gets up for certain games, guys, so don't be surprised. She's not been playing that great. She hasn't been that outstanding, but she has had good moments against good teams. So you never know. I will not be at all surprised if she has a heck of a game today. She'll get up for this game, especially when both teams have been playing 500 ball, and you're right there neck and neck. You're tied with this ball club, and you never played them before. So something's got to give today, and we'll find out who has the upper hand today between Washington and Dallas when it's all said and done. Going into the final game, the only thing I saw here is that obviously Las Vegas is a good rebounding team. You know, they're second in the league in rebounds, averaging about 37 a game, while Phoenix is near the bottom, which is a scary thought. But when you think about them, you say to yourself, well, what are the disadvantages? Well, remember, they only have Griner up front. On FanDuel, Griner's the only one that you find up front. The only one. But remember that Bonner is a guard on FanDuel, and she is actually the small forward and sometimes power forward for Phoenix the whole entire season. Okay? The whole entire season. And it's no different in Vegas where you have Tamara Young. She is labeled here on FanDuel as a guard, but she plays forward, small forward and power forward for Vegas. She's up front with Miss Park and Miss Wilson, while KP is in the backcourt with McBride. What I take out of this game, I'm going to be honest with you, Griner is definitely someone I really like today. I definitely like Miss Griner today for Phoenix, and Taurasi is definitely obviously in play. When you look at these girls, I mean, they're just monstrous. 3-point percentage, points per game. You got Griner 20, Taurasi 20. Both of them are averaging high in shots, 14 for Griner a game and Taurasi 13. And then Bonner is the third best scorer and shooter on the team, 15.3 points per game and shooting 12 shots a game. Between those three, they're shooting 39 shots a game on average, and they're putting up 56 on average points. You look on the other side, Vegas has 4 pretty outstanding, pretty decent scorers. Wilson 19.9 per game, McBride 19.1, Young at 10.2, and KP, Miss Plum at 7.6. All 4 of them. Wilson 16 shots a game, McBride 13, Young 7, and Plum 6. They are the key 4 players for Las Vegas. Between the 4, they take 42 shots a game, and they score about 55 points. Actually 1 point less than the 3 monsters that Phoenix got. My only concern with Phoenix is that their backcourt is really just Taurasi, you know, where I like Las Vegas. They got McBride and KP. She's not a bad ball player. So that's where I'm at there. 3-point shooting, both of these teams are fairly good there as well. We got Plum 46%, McBride 40%, Hamby 32%. On the Phoenix side, you got January 47%. She doesn't take a whole lot of shots. She only takes 2.5 per game when she does play sufficient minutes. Tarazi is their big 3-point shooter. She's 40% shooting from 3, and she takes 8.5 shots, almost 9 threes a game. Bonner is next at 31%, and she takes 5 3-pointers a game. So when I look at this game, I look at the rebounding. You got Griner, Bonner, and Tarazi. They're the top 3 rebounders for Phoenix. And then you go on the other side of the ball, you got Wilson, Young, Swords, and McBride and Park. Between those 4 or 5 ladies, they got 25 rebounds per game on average. And on the Phoenix side, within the 3 best rebounders, and that's where Phoenix is suffering with being the 11th ranked defense, the 11th ranked rebounding team, is because they don't have they don't have enough girls that rebound. Everybody else gets 1 or 2. Their top 3 rebounders are Griner, Bonner, and Tarazi. If any one of those 3 girls get hurt or they are not able to play, Phoenix is always going to be in trouble. So definitely, this is going to be an interesting game. Interesting game. So we'll see, because if Phoenix, I look at it this way, guys. When it comes to Las Vegas and Phoenix tonight, if Las Vegas could go 2 ways. They're the highest paced team. They like to go up and down the court really, really quick. Phoenix is not too bad at that as well. But my 2 things I'm thinking of, Vegas could either slow down the pace to their advantage because they are a good rebounding team. They can do that. If they choose to just run and shoot, they can do that also. But I think that they may have an advantage because they're a better rebounding team, that they should slow the pace down a little bit. So we'll see what happens. All right, let me just go over. So you're saying Dallas. So let me look at some of the guys. Dallas playing 2 guards, Gray and Diggins Smith. Yes, Greasy is easy. Yeezy. Yes, they do play Gray and Diggins Smith, and they pretty much play the entire game. And those girls are pretty good. Diggins Smith obviously is one of the best in there. Joel, you said Robinson is a lock. Yeah, I like Danielle Robinson. Robinson. You're talking about Angel Robinson. Angel Robinson at 3,200. Yeah, it's not a bad play. She's actually on my Phoenix list here. I have her as one of my sleepers, other than Lalani Mitchell and Little. I didn't tell you guys the best plays in the Phoenix Las Vegas game, at least from what I've seen. McBride and Wilson, hands down for Vegas, of course. And then, of course, on Phoenix side, definitely Griner, Tarazi, and Bonner. My sleeper picks, don't sleep on KP, Kelsey Plum. Definitely like Mariah Jefferson at 3.6K. Watch out for Caroline Swords. Okay, she's averaging 4 rebounds a game. She had a 24 spot in 2 of the last 4 games. So she's definitely someone to keep an eye on. Sleeper picks on the Phoenix side. Little, definitely Robinson, Angel Robinson, and Lalani Mitchell may get some more minutes. All right. Even if January doesn't play a whole lot, maybe Mitchell will get some, and I think she may be very sneaky here. Okay, Robinson, big value for potential blowout against. Yeah, I agree. I was looking at Swords. Yes, Swords definitely. Like I said, I think she could be a little sneaky play. What I have here, cash games. Aaron, do you mostly play cash games? No, to be honest, I play mostly GPP games. I play maybe 1 or 2 cash games here and there, sporadically. It depends on the slate. I kind of like taking the gamble, to be honest. I'd rather try to see if I can win the big one. Do I play a whole lot of them? No. I play maybe 5 to as many as 10 lineups, depending on the slate. This particular slate tonight I have here, as you can see on my screen, I put only 3 lineups in for the 5K, which is the big one. But I did play the $1 one, which you have 3 opportunities, 3 entries you can enter. And then I did a couple of other ones where I'm just competing with 100 people. All right, so I like doing those as well. I do like to play the 1 to 100 player GPPs as well. Orlando Harris, yes, Griner has been kicking butt against Las Vegas. So you definitely want to. I think she's the best play of the night. I mean, at least for me, she's hands down on my list. She's one of my core. Joel, Kelsey Plum or Tamara Young? That's a good question. I think Kelsey is going to be a very sleeper. She's going to be one of those ones that might be sneaky today. So I mean, if you leave it to me, I'll probably go with KP. Tamara Young, I wouldn't mind, but I kind of like Bonner in the matchup with Tamara Young. Remember, Bonner and Tamara Young, they're both small forwards for their respective teams. So they're going to basically probably be guarding one another. So I definitely like Bonner a lot better than I like Young tonight in this matchup. Baller, Zealous or Gray? Man, oh my God, Zealous. Those New York players, man, they kill me, man. They truly kill me. New York and Atlanta, Zealous or Gray? You know, I mean, Gray. Oh boy, let me look here. Let me take a look here again, man. She is at nearly 5K. You need about 25. I would say 24. She's definitely on the up and up here. Man, 22 and 31 over the last 2 games. She's had a 22 spot in 3 out of the last 5. I like that she's putting up more than what she's been averaging, which is 18.4. She's done that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last maybe 7 games. Yeah, you know, she's capable of getting you 30. She could get you 6x. I think I would go with Gray. I actually have Gray in one of my lineups. I do not have Zealous at all, to be totally frank and honest with you. I definitely don't have Zealous at all. The only New York player that I'm thinking of tonight is having Tina Charles up front, and any New York backcourt player. I really kind of like Bria Hartley today. Joel, absolutely right. New York guards impossible to predict, and you're absolutely right about that. That's why I hate playing them. I played Brittany Boyd when they had that little run, and she was very, very hot, but her price is getting up there, and she could be, you know, one of those, just like every other one on the New York roster in the backcourt. And remember, going back to Zealous real quickly, Zealous plays small forward for New York, so I hope you guys know that as well. She plays the front court. She is not a guard. I mean, she's capable of playing guard and forward, but she has been strictly playing small forward, and if she's not playing small forward, she's coming off the bench as a small forward. So that's something also to remember about Zealous. But the New York guards, yeah, definitely hard. Let's see who else we have. Zealous for the cheap. Yeah, you can't go that way, Gov. I'm not on her, to be honest with you, but you know, you could definitely play her. Moving on, DJ Dog Sanders is a pretty safe play. I love LaToya Sanders. I love her as a player, period. She is just tough, hard-nosed. You know, she's at 6K. You need 30 from her, but she is capable of getting you 30 any given night. Any given night. And she's going to need to play well tonight. You're going up against Dallas. Their front court is very, very vulnerable. Very, very, very strong, good front court for Dallas. Dallas front court has moved up. They are currently on my list 4th in defending against forwards. Or giving up 41, what I got here? 47.8 points per game. They have slipped a little bit. They were better than that. They were 44.1, but they were 1 second on my list as far as points per game, and they have dropped to 4th. But they're still very good up front with Johnson, Thornton, and Cam Beige as the front court starters, and then you got Ms. Stevens coming off the bench. Diggins or Taurasi? That's a good one, Joel. Diggins or Skylar Diggins-Smith, I think, is today the better play because she's facing New York. New York is 9th in defending guards, so I mean I would definitely go Diggins-Smith her way, and she has 50-point upside. As you know, she has had 3 50-plus games, I think in 3 out of the last 4 games or something, like 5 games, so she's definitely on fire, and I don't think she's going to be highly owned too, so that's another plus there. Glory Johnson or Young? Wow, good question there with the Glory Johnson and Young. Glory Johnson has been playing really, really well, man. She has been playing really well as of late. I think in this matchup today, she may have a good game. I don't have her, but you know, we look at her numbers, man. She has looked pretty good. And then let me look back over here. Let me take another close look at Glory Johnson. Glory Johnson. Okay, she's averaging, what we got here for Glory Johnson? Glory Johnson shooting 41% from the floor. And she's second leading rebounder on the team with 6 rebounds a game. She also is one of the top. She's averaging close to 1 block a game as well. So, I mean, you know, and then we'll look here real closely, real quick. Massive minutes, 29 and 32 over the last 2 out of the last 3 games, and she had a 36 spot, 38 spot. You know, I mean, she's showing slowly but surely. I remember when she was averaging about 16 or 17 fantasy points a game. As you can see, that has increased. 21, you always look at this first. If she's averaging that over the last few games, that's the way at least I go by about it. She's done it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 6 games. She's been averaging more, slightly more than her fantasy points per game average. Now, for the price 6,700, you're supposed to get about 30, pretty much almost 34 from her, 33, and you know, yeah, you need about 34, 33, and she's been able to do that twice over the last 4 games. So, yeah, I mean, you know, Glory Johnson could be a nice play. Over Tamara Young, I think she have a shot tonight. Tamara Young is going to have a tough game today, just simply because she's got to deal with Bonner. I like Bonner a little bit better today. Swords, Little, or Billings? I will be leaning towards Billings or Swords, but more preferably Caroline Swords. At least for me. Tina Charles or Brittany Griner? Man, Devin, come on now. Brittany Griner today. And if she doesn't have a monster, if she doesn't have a great game, or she has the potential to have a bigger game, let's put it, than Tina Charles. So I would rather, me personally, I'd rather pay up and pay for Miss Griner. And she is $500 more expensive. Nah, that's a no-brainer. No-brainer for me. So I mean, but I'm not saying Tina Charles is not a bad play. I just think that Griner is in a better matchup today, where she's already dominated this team. Unless they decide to double team her and have her kick that ball out, then that will open the doors for who, Diana Taurasi, to have the big game. That's what's gonna happen. They'll swing that ball around. They'll get it over to Taurasi. So Griner or Taurasi, you cannot go wrong with either one of those Phoenix Suns today. And again, I like Bonner. I have her in about 2 of my lineups. I like DeWanna Bonner. Skylar, yep. Gloria's the best value tonight. Glory Johnson is pretty good. I go over here to the Cruncher, and let me see. I'll tell you what the Cruncher tells me. Glory Johnson, for price. Obviously, this is when you look at value, you're looking at the price, projected points to salary that is being asked for on FanDuel, which is 6,700. She's at 3.3, which is pretty respectable. It's not high. I prefer a 4, but she's definitely a decent value. Glory Johnson. Yeah, I mean, again, that's what I'm looking forward to, this game tonight between Washington and Dallas, because we just don't know with Dallas. They haven't played each other, so we're gonna find out tonight who has the better, who definitely has the upper hand in the front court. That's what I really want to see. Right now, Dallas is playing really well defending against forwards and centers, but again, they have not faced Deladon and Sanders. So I look forward to that, and that also includes Ariel Atkins, who is the starting 3 on that team. Even though she's a guard here on FanDuel. Baller, you don't trust the Vegas players. Well, coming into this game, remember, Las Vegas is 4-1. They have been the second hottest team other than Atlanta. Vegas is coming into this game, winning 4 out of their last 5 games. And let me just get that information. 4 out of their last 5 games. And 2 of those games, they're 2-0 in a row. Now, they could have a setback today because they're playing Phoenix. But again, if they can slow down my opinion, if they can slow down the game, even though they're a fast-paced team, they can slow down the game a little bit and take advantage of their rebounding abilities. I think that will be a strategic move for them if they were to do that and be able, because Phoenix doesn't have enough people up front to rebound. And that's the reason why they push the ball a little bit quick too. so they can get up on transition and get those open threes and get Tarazi involved. So I'm looking at it as like we're gonna find out. Something's got to give. Is if it's gonna be a meltdown in the front court or it's gonna be a meltdown in the back court. And I think everything. When you look at the back court, you definitely think Diggins Smith with Alicia Gray is a better backcourt than Tolliver right now. With no Natasha Cloud starting today, so it's definitely going to hurt. Yeah, there's going to be some value on the Washington side, but I think, still I like the backcourt and the front court of Dallas. Sword's birthday today. Well, maybe she might have a monster game. Atkins or Young. I'll be leaning towards Atkins as a really sneaky play. I think I mentioned that before. I like Ariel Atkins over Tamara Young. And you guys, if anybody's been watching my videos and been listening to me, I love Tamara Young. I just think tonight the matchup with Bonner is a little tougher, and I could be totally wrong. She could go out there and just physically just get brutal nasty against Bonner. Well, she is definitely a physical girl, T Young. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards Bonner, and if you're asking me between Young and Atkins, I'd rather go with Atkins today. Washington is going to need somebody up front to get busy, and she might be the one. Ariel Atkins is 5,300. She's a $500 savings over Young. Seth Miller, no brainers equals fade. Yeah, but I mean, when you're comparing, they had asked for Griner and Charles. I mean, come on. If you had the choice, you'll take Griner or you'll take Charles. In this matchup here, considering she's already been just dominating, I'm going with the factors that she's already dominated them. She's the top scorer on the team. She's the top rebound on the team. All right. She's placed in a good position. Las Vegas is not that great, not that strong up front against forwards and centers, which I have them at 9th at 51.7 points per game given up. So I could see Brittany Griner getting 20 floor points against this team. Now, on the other hand, with Tina Charles, totally different story. She has to deal with McCautry, with Breitland. I mean, the matchup is a little tougher there, at least for me. I like the Atlanta since the very beginning, and since I started the channel. I always used to say, beginning of the WNBA season, I said I always thought the front court of Atlanta was definitely a decent front court, and they have gotten better. And remember, they're coming in 5-0. Not to say that they're going to go 6-0. They can definitely have a letdown, but they're playing at home. I think Atlanta is in good shape today. Anthony Wilson going against Griner. Yeah, I mean, I said it in my video earlier today. I mean, I'm not opposed at all to taking Asia Wilson in this spot. The only thing is that she has definitely had a rough go against Phoenix. The 2 games that she has played with them, She's had, let me see, take a quick look again. Asia Wilson, 4 out of the last 7 games, she's had 50 plus, which is fantastic. She had a 40 spot versus Phoenix, okay, in 32 minutes in the first game, and then in the last game, and in the first game of the season, first time they faced each other, she only put a 28 spot in 33 minutes. I just think that Griner has the more upside potential to put 50 plus today. Not that Asia Wilson is not able to get you at least 40. I think she possibly can, but that's just, again, this is all my opinion. I don't have the magic answer. I'm just here basically let you know what I see and what I've been able to analyze and look at, and just try to give you the best possibility, best answers as far as giving you, what you probably may need to make your decisions. That's why I never go out and be like, hey, you know what, buy my lineups, give you 5 or 6 plays. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think it's just give everybody the information and let people make the decisions themselves. And if they ask me what my opinion is on something, on to get 2 players, I would tell you frankly what I think is the best play, and that's just don't shoot me the next day about it if they happen to tank, because as of late, a couple of the ones that I really think have been playing well have not played well, and it happens, so sometimes statistics don't work, but this is the proper way, guys, to actually analyze and look over and make decisions on slates. You shouldn't just go by a player playing really good or has been hot or anything like that. value on the 4,500. Well, you know, the best ones I like Mariah Jefferson for Las Vegas as a low value play. She's at 3,600. I also like, you know, she's not that low, but she's at 4,100. Be careful for, be on the lookout for Leilani Mitchell. Let me just put this over here. And on the bottom half over here, as far as forwards, I like Carolyn Swords. Angel Robinson is not a bad play here for Phoenix with 3,200, and Monique Billings. Those are my lower tier forwards for today that I kind of like. I actually have one or two of them in my lineups. And when it comes to the guards, I really only like Monique Curry is in a good spot. Natasha Cloud is out. I think she's going to get a little uptick in minutes. And, you know, you could consider Pratt, but I got a feeling that Monique Curry will probably get more of the minutes, more of the run. I wouldn't be surprised Taylor Hill or maybe even Kimbrough may get something, but I'm just leaning towards Curry because she's actually have played a few more minutes as of late than anybody else in this that comes usually off the bench. But that's pretty much it. I really don't. I'm not on Sugar Rogers. Kia Nurse I mentioned as possibly a sleeper for New York. You know, she had a monster game the last game, so you never know. They might put her in there again today, especially if they fall a little bit behind. You can see a little bit more of Kia Nurse, who has, you know, 50-point upside. I think she had a 50-point game this year. Yeah, Holke, you mentioned Ruffin Pratt. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Curry, to be honest with you, Monique Curry. But I mean, yeah, she's in play, especially that, you know, there's no Natasha Cloud for Washington. They're gonna take some minutes. It's either Miss Tolliver is gonna get a little bit more time on the floor, especially if the game is close and she's actually playing well, because unfortunately we don't know what's gonna happen. These coaches just do some weird things in this freaking damn WNBA. They drive me insane sometimes. But I would say strongly, you know, if you're looking for a value, I kind of like Monique Curry down here at 3,200, and I like Mariah Jefferson as far as guards. I think those are the best two possible plays, you know, in this entire slate. And that's pretty much it. You know, that is pretty much it. Anyway, guys, all right, man, I hope, you know, anything that I gave you will help. I'm gonna try to do the live streams pretty much every day. I'm trying to do that, so I'll be back again tomorrow. Look out for the next video. It's about 15 minutes before lock. I really wanted to wrap up by 6:40, give myself time to look over a few things, check to make sure that there's no last minute injuries. I'm gonna put on my league pass right now and see if there's anything going on. But I pretty much think tonight, you know, hey, again, man, just good luck tonight. You have a couple nice plays. Like I said, you know, I think Grinders is a pretty good solid play today. I like Breland. Glory Johnson may be a surprising play. You know, I love LaToya Sanders, just to throw out some more people at you. Kayla Thornton definitely is in play. I think she's a solid play today too. And then I mentioned, of course, the lower tier players like Billings, Angela Robinson, Caroline Swords. You know, those are girls that you can consider on the guard side. Diggins Smith and Taurasi definitely in play. I love Dawana Bonner. Kayla McBride is in play, even though I didn't mention a whole lot about her. She's in a tough matchup, and she's only put up 26 fantasy points, I think, in both of the games, in both games against Phoenix. But she is capable of giving you 35 plus any given day, and she is second leading scorer on the team. So definitely they need her to perform. If she performs at a high level tonight, she could be definitely someone to consider. Last minute, Hayes is definitely in play. Watch out for Christy Tolliver. I mean, she may step up in minutes, and she gets pumped up for some of these big games. This is a big game, all right? Both teams are 13-9. Down here on the lower tier, Ariel Atkins could be a good play. Kelsey Plum. I like Bria Hartley as the only guard for New York. Alicia Gray is definitely in play at 4,900. I'm not on Prince. I'm not on Zealous. I'm not on Turner. I think Mitchell could be sneaky. Watch out for Nurse. And then, of course, on the lower tier, I really like Jefferson and I like Curry. And that's pretty much it, guys, man. Good luck tonight. God bless, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.